Also, you need to stimulate them to work beyond their own terms, which is of course difficult because you're also in the short run being held accountable for your short-term results. They have been saying that universities should not just look for money, because this is a tendency that universities in their meetings with the region are very focused on trying to get in research or innovation funding, but you should go further than that and really try to think about the systemic collaboration, which of course at some point will require money, but it's not the main objective, and it should not be short-term, but mid-term or long-term. There is not really a good understanding of mutual career paths and drivers and cultures and rewards, so regions really don't understand how universities work, and universities struggle to really understand what the logic is of a regional leader and how the regional leader is being held accountable. So that's something that could be improved. And then last but not least, but one of the ideas from the region was also to go beyond research performance-based indicators and research performance-based funding instruments, but looking at innovation performance-based funding, which is of course something that needs to be developed. But this might also incentivize universities to go beyond their research responsibilities and really work on the region. Something we found in a different study that I thought it was good to share, and I'm curious also to hear your voice on this, is that for a big French project we interviewed 50 academic and administrative leaders across Europe, and we benchmarked 12 universities and looked at their leadership support. And what we found there is that you should not teach leaders how to be a better leader, but it's all about peer learning and engaging them in conversation with each other so that they can learn and build on top of each other's strengths and reflect on their leadership challenges. Not to theorize too much, have the leaders, while you train them, engage in real life problems and work on real cases that are urgent and need to be solved so that they actually create this community and improve around real topics. And also trying to avoid the competition, especially on a national or a regional level. Universities are in competition with each other, and the way to avoid that is by inviting international stakeholders. And of course that's where Ulysseus also comes in as one of the alliances. Having a conversation with people from the region of Andalusia, but adding maybe a few international stakeholders will take out some of the sensitivities in the discussion. And it's something that we found in that project, because they will be more open to shift there and open up. Some of the suggestions we found in terms of what to improve based on what the leaders said, and Carmen, I'm sure you're one of the people we interviewed, so you will find some of your ideas also in these two slides, hopefully. But one of the key ideas that have been suggested to the JRC to improve is to connect the European University Alliance leaders of one region. So in the case of Andalusia, there's 10 universities, 4 of them are part of European alliances, 2 might become part of European alliances. So together with those 6, you would have a group of 60 European universities, but you've got 6 already in one region. And how can you stimulate and bring them together in a comprehensive way is one idea for a pilot. Another idea would be to utilize the university alliances as motors for interregional cooperation. The DG Regio for regions is developing this Innovation Valley approach, in which they try to connect the regional innovation ecosystems. But you can use the European alliances to build on that. That's another pilot that you could test out. And then last but not least, but could you also bring together European universities and cities / territories or regions around specific missions? Of course, there's the 50 sustainable cities, which is already one of those themes that you could work on, but you could think of others that you could work with, and you could leverage the European Alliance capacity to do those things. Last slide, before we go into the discussion, is we also got and retrieved some formats to support place-based leaders in the service of systemic territorial innovation. And one is to offer cross-sectoral mentoring, which would mean that university leaders that come into their new position would be mentored by a former regional government official to better understand what's happening in the region and who the key players are and what's going on, and vice versa. New government officials in the region could be mentored by 1 or 2 university leaders who could actually explain what the logics and culture and challenges of universities are in terms of creating comprehensive strategies for the region. So that could be one thing to improve and to develop as a mentoring scheme. Another thing they suggested was to develop an intensive retreat, bringing regional leaders, both from universities and regions, together for 2 days, not to create strategies, not to talk about impact or indicators, but really just to get to know each other and to build an empathy for each other's roles, responsibilities, each other's needs, but also each other's limitations, and thereby enhancing trust. Because trust actually I didn't share that yet, was also one of the things that was coming up a lot, that the region doesn't really trust that the universities are interested in solving regional problems. They're mostly interested in doing more research, which is not applicable and which improves their global reputation, but not their regional one, and vice versa. University leaders feel that regional government leaders are sometimes a bit slow, administrative. They're really creating a lot of red tape, and they're not really making impact that they should, and they're not committed enough. So that's some of the distrust that you have, and this is something you could maybe solve in a 2-day retreat. Then another one was to create a peer learning community of academic and government officials in which they share experiences and discuss dilemmas around systemic transformative innovation. And last but not least, but also one of the things you could do is developing frameworks for better reward and recognition of rewarding academic leaders, but also regional leaders that perform well on systemic territorial innovation, so that they then can advance in their career or get other incentives to improve their work on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sorry to speak this fast, but I tried to do it all in 15 minutes. And I'm very curious to open the floor, and I'm curious also Carmen Vargas and Inma, what it has captured our discussions on this now. Yeah, please share your thoughts and reflections. The main question here, just to end up, is I know this has been a zoom into one region, a zoom into one topic of leadership, and a zoom into climate adaptation as a topic, but hopefully there might be some insights that you could use to engage your stakeholders in your associate partners. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and I'm very grateful for you to include within the suggestions some of the activities that are forecasted in Ulysseus SEP to improve the innovation-driven territorial transformation. So I'll let Inma and Marina come with me into the stage, and I would like to open the floor for discussion. So please raise your hands, and we will give you the mic.
Yes, hello, sure. This is Teemu Kokko. I'm the president and CEO of Haaga-Helia University of Applied Sciences from Helsinki, Finland. Thank you very much for your presentation. I find that your suggestions and ideas are, I fully support them, so I really find them quite good. I would say that leading a university is a really tough job, and there are several reasons for that. One reason is that there is a tradition that leaders are selected on academic credentials rather than their leadership skills. Second reason is that we are leading people who all actually could make a fantastic solo career. So it's always a challenge for the manager to get people to play together and do things together. And if I would summarize your presentation, you actually are suggesting one thing, and that's increased cooperation in different forms, and I fully support this. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that comment. And yes, it is about increased cooperation, but also for increased support for leaders to enter into their roles. So one question we ask often is, and this could also be a question that if we would have had the time to interview you, I would have asked you, is going back to the start of your term, what would be the skills or the knowledge or the competencies that you wish you had before you started in that role? And how could you help your colleagues or future people entering into that role or into leadership roles to develop those skills faster so that they can lead their institutions more effectively right away at the start? But it's definitely true. It's all about the cooperation, and it's an interesting challenge. I can imagine.
Yes, thank you. It's Tilman Butschart. I'm the CSO for the Social Ecological Sustainability Hub. And my question is, thank you for your talk as well, there is place-based leadership for climate adaptation in Andalusia. Could you explain a bit climate adaptation? I didn't see nothing in your slides, so did you ask for a climate adaptation, or is it just leadership, or what has it to do with climate adaptation?
Good point, and I didn't explain that clearly, but climate adaptation, of course, the regional, I took that slide out because I wanted more on the leadership topic because you, of course, are leaders of universities. But climate adaptation is a huge and interesting space in Andalusia because it's a very affected region in terms of climate and the way that you create innovation and systems and collaboration to respond better to the changes in climate. And this means that you also not just work on one sector, but you also work across different sectors. It's a very systemic issue. You cannot solve it by one or two quick wins. So climate adaptation for us was a way to ground the discussion with the leaders. Because if you're not careful and talk about leadership, it becomes very abstract, and you just talk about competencies and feelings and responsibilities. And once you zoom it down into one topic, and it could have also been instead of climate adaptation, it could have been inclusion, or it could have been resilience, it could have been a lot of different topics. But because of the interviews focused on climate adaptation, we try to ground the experiences and the examples that the leaders use in one context, in one space. But I left it a bit out for this conversation because it's a very Andalusian, it was a very Andalusian study, and I wanted to make it interesting for all of you.
Yeah, maybe one question and comment. So something very interesting you mentioned that we want to push within Ulysseus is this idea of universities as institutional stakeholders in science diplomacy. And in the context of climate change, as solution providers within their own ecosystems. And we've been working actually, so it's not exactly within Ulysseus, but it is engaging two partners of Ulysseus, University of Genoa and us, University of Genoa through the network of Italian universities engaging climate change, that's called Ulysseus, and us through another network on the role. And so that was during COP, so at an international level, but connected at a regional level on the role of universities in the decarbonization strategies of their regions and their cities. And we see that when we actually work on very specific topics, technical topics, universities have an institutional role, and we're not anymore in an individual role of academics that can provide important information, important knowledge, science knowledge, but really as universities, as solution providers, as influencers, and as advocate within their own ecosystem and at an international level.
Yes, clearly. So this is a great point, and this was in a way out of the context of our study, but you could definitely also look at challenge-based learning or service learning, mission-driven research, or research in collaboration with industry, all those different facets of this amazing, well, question of how regions and universities can reinforce each other to work on missions. They're all very important and very connected. We really, as I said, zoomed into the leadership dimension, and what we found is that leaders can actually leverage large groups of their communities and stimulate them or incentivize them to go into a direction of collaboration with, as you said, specific challenges such as decarbonization strategies. But the issue now is that it's sometimes difficult for those leaders to create that direction, and also difficult to incentivize, because researchers are incentivized very differently currently, and maybe in the future that might change. And then the other part, because this is the internal challenge, the other part is to really bridge the boundary and work with other stakeholders that have different logics, different time spans, different career progressions. So we have found that there is a lot of work to be done also in that space, specifically around these topics that you mentioned.
My name is Siegfried, I'm representing MCI in Ulysseus, and I would like to say thank you for this intriguing session and all the presentations. So it's very important, I think, that INMA has outlined and underlined that we need an aligned strategy on how to include our associated partners. And then Marina complimented it by saying this needs strategic communication, so thank you very much for that. And now we have a topic around we all want to focus our efforts, our institutional efforts. And I think, Saran, as you said, we have an institutional role, and science diplomacy is key and is expected from university alliances. This is probably the argument to convince future political decision makers to put extra money in the alliances that goes beyond the funding for universities in Europe. Yeah, to find a reason why the alliances should get an extra support for what they do. And I see that this is a very strategic discussion here and that we should continue with that. And I remember, Saran, you proposed a task force in science diplomacy, and you are now also proposing some structural approach towards our associated partners and ecosystems. So please, let's continue here.
Hello, my name is Srna Sudar. I'm representing University of Montenegro, and I just wanted to point a few things related to not only associated partner, but positioning of universities in the community, that science-based policy making, that JRC has certain courses and trainings, and also citizen science is something that we could, as universities, position ourselves within the community, and that should be taken into account in the future activities as a really strategic goal.
Okay, thank you very much for this work about associated partners. I agree with Siegfried. We need to be operational because we have a potential of actors that can be involved and engaged in Ulysseus. I think that we need to better map these partners. I mean, to use some instruments, standard instruments, to map, for example, the materiality, the potential role in the alliance, and to create a win-win strategy for them and for us to gain outcomes from their role in Ulysseus. In some situations, in several cases, these partners, associated partners, are actors that already cooperate with the university. For example, the regional government or some big companies that already are in the perimeter of our activity. And I think that the alliance could be the tool to reinforce these links. But we need to create a roadmap and a strategy to involve and engage them to have some benefits for the alliance. It is not enough to say, yes, I'm a member of this alliance. We need to send this message. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I am a bit curious because you were interviewing people from the University of Seville in Ulysseus, but you were also interviewing representatives of the University of Genoa and also of the University of Münster. And these three regions are different in terms of innovation, so and GDP and so on. So did you find differences between, well, I suppose there were two parts in the interview about the capacity of innovation and so on regarding the climate change on the one hand, but then on the leadership and the attitude and the key competencies for interacting within the ecosystem, because I think that I don't know if it would be possible to expand this study to all Ulysseus universities in the sense that we are belonging to different regions in terms of innovation, etc., etc. So maybe we could find a room for and a roadmap for learning from each other and see how we could help also to the less moderators and less innovators, sorry, in our regions. And after that, I would like to give the floor to Imma, because the issue of climate change is the challenge the global challenge that we are arising. So maybe we could use it as a, let's say, leading leitmotif to increase this collaboration for leadership. And there is an incoming event within the Ulysseus agenda very, very soon in the spring in Seville, which is about how to collaborate in the field of climate change.
Well, as a quick response, that we did speak to colleagues from Ulster and Genova, but we unfortunately, because the time was way too short, we couldn't meet with the leaders and discuss the differences on the territorial level. My intuition, actually, and also my experience from the study that we did in France, is that if you talk about the leadership dilemmas that every of your VPs and directors and presidents are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and especially if you would take a topic of working with your region, this in itself could already be a very good reflection. Because the question of how you move your institutions and your communities, although your institutional cultures and histories are different, at the same time, trying to bring people together, it's really a practice, it's a skill, it's an attitude, it's a mindset. So reflecting on that with your colleagues, and based on that, developing a roadmap on how to improve that type of learning across institutions is something that that has a lot of potential, and I would really applaud and stimulate you if you would take up the challenge to bring your vice presidents of innovation and strategy or vice presidents of research and regions, I'm not sure if they exist, but bringing them together and creating a peer learning community and making them reflect, because I'm sure the regions are different, the institutions are different, but in terms of personal roles and ways to engage your communities to move and to develop, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to learn and to share experiences and also to learn from differences. So I like that suggestion a lot that you just put out.
Marina, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, I have a short comment on this study. I really welcome this study. It's really very interesting, but most importantly, it's very timely, particularly in the context of the focus of regional innovation. As we know, the common paradigm for regional innovation so far was smart specialization. And all these smart specialization programs were typically led by regional development agencies because that was the framework from DG Regio. And also, typically, universities were just some partners in you know, and for me, as somebody, you know, in my recent past life as a JRC officer in European Commission in Seville, I have managed a lot of smart specialization projects where we saw a lot of frustration of universities not being given sufficient consideration of and maximum utilization of their potential. With this kind of approach, place-based leadership, I think that is strategically important because it replaces universities in the driving seat, in the inter-regional, regional cooperation. And it gives universities the opportunity to make the best use of their potential, both in innovation and research and education, integrated approach of these three university missions. And the university can have a much more structured and contentful intervention and message than regional development agencies. Not to say that those agencies didn't make a great contribution. They have learned a lot on the spot, on the job. But the thing is, their networks are not comparable with these networks that we now have for universities, including the European alliances. And I think that's an excellent opportunity for these university alliances to act regionally, but also contribute to this European dimension of innovation. And congratulations, that's an excellent and very timely study. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marina. I totally agree. From smart specialization strategy was one more, how to say, a technical thing to partnerships for regional innovation. Partnerships means institutional cooperation, so we should move on that direction. We are running out of time. I would like to give the floor to Emma so she will talk about the new coming events in Seville, and it's around this issue.
But I will be presenting them later as well, right?
Just comment on it,
okay.
and then we will be presenting later.
Okay, I will be presenting the meetings for the next year later, but just to let you know that related to this topic, there will be a meeting in May in Seville. It will be physical, and the focus is on innovation-driven territorial transformation, focus on climate change challenges and solutions. So I guess that we can build on everything that has been discussed today. We can involve our colleagues from cities and from the GRC, and we can define jointly an agenda that is suitable for Ulysseus.
Very much. I think that having the series academic and the JRC around Ulysseus is a privilege, so we have to capitalize on that. I think we have run out the 1 hour time, and is now going, it's time for moving to the coffee break. Thanking you everybody for the fruitful discussion and looking forward to continuing it. Thank you very much, Short, and the Series Academy, and yeah, keep in touch. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dear colleagues, please come back from the coffee break at 11:35. And please, who has not signed in the tables your participation, please do it now, because you know how important it is for the project administration.
So now everything is, no barrier.
So every time I'm speaking loudly, I am not the same. So at 8, I was in the
But it was a good evening.
Yes, I know. The closing, the next session is here, isn't it? Yeah, the next session is here.
Pero Nacho, ven, esto que hay aquí dentro, ¿ese? Vale. Lo que yo cuando me has visto que me he levantado de púlpito. Hello, so I have the student and he's looking forward to the video. Oh, so I did there maybe, but you think it's a good idea?
We haven't prepared the question yet. Maybe. But you would like to speak French or? So you are going to the questions.
Well, actually, what I was thinking, if you think it's a good idea, is like what we discussed yesterday.
Yeah.
He can explain a bit of the project, or maybe I don't know, as you wish, you can say in French, and then we put the subtitles later.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I think it's okay. 1 minute. Yeah, great.
Feelings about this, because we use sometimes to go, to define themselves in the world, so how do you understand themselves in 3 rows?
Then we need to give it to him, because I'm not sure he will go through.
Yeah, to understand really what it's
We can say whatever we need to say, actually.
I would rather like that they express by themselves how are they really feeling.
Okay.
Not to prepare too much the speech for the video.
Just so I can call him?
Yeah.
Pero es que no me he enterado de...
Para grabar al estudiante, que tenemos un estudiante de Francia. Y dice que lo grabemos, aprovechemos ya, hacemos el primer vídeo que va a hablar en francés y luego lo subtitulamos.
Vale, yo sí, se lo puede grabar,
¿Sí?
pero las preguntas...
Bueno,
Since John, sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe you know the feeling that he has about Ulysseus, or he
Yeah.
knows about the project.
But you can do the questions, I mean, because in French.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Do you? It's just I arrived on Monday, so do you have any idea what he could say as a testimonial? So that I ask in French, and you do like a one minute video, you know,
Yeah.
it's like something quick,
Yeah.
something fast.
So,
What do you think? Tell me.
so he didn't come yesterday. Yeah. Well, he's the president of Phase 06. He's the president of Phase 06, like the student association. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, for example, we have courses, language courses, formal courses are yeah, and they are open to everyone, they are free. I would recommend to stay tuned to our social media because there are plenty of events in which they can collaborate in. And what else? The courses are so engaging for students because they're language courses, they learn Italian. Yeah, and we have like 10 courses open right now. Yeah, online language courses. Free and online, right? Free and online. Some of them are self-paced. You know what's self-paced? Yeah. But I think free and online is already, language courses.
No, okay.
In almost every event, Ulysseus students participate. Yeah, sure. Like that will be held in April. From yeah, I think in the map it would be better. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Alicia, ¿esta está bien? Sí, puede ser.
Vale, sí.
¿Esta? ¿Esta está bien? Es que no sé, ha dado un error raro, no sé si está bien.
Claro, voy a decírselo a ella.
Porque tiene imágenes.
Es que ha dado error. Creo que sí.
Pero ¿cuál es? ¿Esta ha dado error?
Es la V2
Está mal el archivo. ¿Dónde la sacamos?
del correo.
Abre el correo. Abre el correo y cómo se ve el correo. Pues déjame abrir una vez. Sara,
tiempo. Mira. Sí, me tengo que computar los datos. Espera, te reenvío.
Envíame por correo por mi dirección y lo de esta organización a mí. Ah, y lo de las presentaciones hoy, por favor.
Pero no es mi fallo, ¿eh?
No, eso es bien. Está bien, eso es genial.
Dear colleagues, please take the seats. We will have one more session, and then we will have the farewell messages by the rectors, after which we will be in position to relax a little bit and have social event at the coast. So to continue with our program, now we have the session on satellite projects strategy for Ulysseus, stage 2. And we have Sarah Ann Cornell, Director of Operations, International and Europe, University Côte d'Azur. Is she here? Yeah. Okay. Presentations.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. And actually, I wanted to introduce you first to Adil. I don't know if he's already came back from the break. Is he there? No, he's not? Okay. Well, when he arrives, we'll do the presentation, the both of us, because he is actually the person that has been recruited for this. Thanks. Okay, well, I'll start, and when he comes, then we will greet him with a round of applause to thank him for being here. So I know that this session has been expected by a lot of you as an answer to how are we going to get more money and more project. Unfortunately, we don't yet have all the answers, but hopefully with your help and with some brainstorming sessions, we should reach towards a nice results in terms of the development of this upgraded project office within Université Côte d'Azur. So the first day, actually, we discussed quite a lot with MCI because Adil is here, I think. So as I was saying, Adil has been recruited as project officer in charge of the project office that will now be hosted in Université Côte d'Azur. We will try humbly to live up to the great work that has been achieved by MCI and notably by Gabriela. She's not here, but I think that we can acknowledge all of us, and especially the Innovation Hub officers and the project officers that have worked under her leadership, the great work that she has done in order to structure the definition of what we call now satellite projects, in order to structure also a community of practice around these European projects, Erasmus+, but also Horizon Europe. So again, we'll try to live up to what the great job that she has done, enlarge a little bit more the perimeter of the project office, not only to focus on the drafting of the proposal, so that we will see a bit later. We had a small discussion with Sarah. We were thinking, should we talk a bit about the past or should we turn towards the future? With her agreement, we decided to turn mainly towards the future and not to come back to the different processes that have been implemented by MCI. However, we will still present very, very briefly some of the satellites projects. So I will take care of presenting some of them that maybe a more majority of you know, and I will then call upon William in order to present two projects that are coordinated by Hagalia, and then I will ask my colleague from Université Côte d'Azur to provide an example of leveraging effect between two projects, which means that we started off with one project and then we ended up submitting another successful project relying on the achievements of the first one. Why is that important? It's because it creates a sort of strategy that provides the tools in order really to embed the project within the overall strategy and objective of Ulysseus, and we see that that can be quite successful. So with no further ado, I'll start. The Ulysseus project, satellite project, what are there? So on the left, you have the definition, but I added a third point, which was to create a solid reputation. And this is one of the key factors that we will concentrate on for phase 2, is that by having Horizon Europe projects and Erasmus+ project, it will build the brand of Ulysseus and build a solid reputation as a European university, on the one hand, intensive in research, thanks to Horizon Europe, and open to the world with modernized structure, as it could be the case through Erasmus+. Just a few figures. I hope that I have the right ones. Actually, I went to see that on the technical report, so I hope that these are the last figures. Basically, we submitted the 34 joint projects, Erasmus+ and Horizon Europe. The majority were Erasmus+, some Horizon Europe. I won't go in depth on all of them, but just regarding Horizon Europe, because it will be one of the main topics of this discussion. SWAF is Compass, and it doesn't fund research activities per se. It finances research, the research strategy that we know of. CoFund 1 and 2 was, so here, yes, it does fund research, but it funds a strategy, an HR strategy in order to recruit postdocs. MSCA, same thing. It funds the salary and the environment of doctoral applicants, candidates. So basically, the 4 projects that were submitted that were really based on our capacity to bring together researchers in order to create research activities are the 4 that are dedicated to clusters. So we still have a lot to do in order to bring together these research groups that will be capable of submitting research projects, and thankfully to work package 4 and 5, my colleagues Peter and Matthias, who presented this morning. We really feel that in phase 2 we will provide more opportunity through this pipeline of seed funding, Ulysseus seed funding, towards Horizon Europe. So I said I wouldn't talk about the past, but just this graph, so copyright is to Gabriela again, which was a little bit like, how does it work within Ulysseus when we want to submit a proposal, and how do we actually engage with the project office at the level of Ulysseus, so hosted until now at MCI. And how we support the identification of the call for proposal, especially through the great help of Innovation Hub officers, that will now be the managers. How they actually exchanges ideas of topics through an Excel table, and until the moment where they would call upon interest of other partners. Oh, part of it has disappeared. No, it hasn't. Okay. So this slide, I know all of you know it. It's kind of the satellite fleet of Ulysseus, but I did kind of, I went a little bit more into that. And on the left side, you have all the Erasmus Plus projects, and on the right side, you have Erasmus Plus and Horizon Europe. And again, the fact is that Compass is feeling a bit lonely here, and for now, we haven't managed to thrive when it comes to Horizon Europe projects. We were asked to do a short, very brief presentation of satellite project. As I told you, I will call upon William for 2 of them, and then to Bianca for an example, a more specific example. I won't go into depth with Compass because Carmen has already presented it, and I think that everyone knows that it is kind of an armed body when it comes to the deployment of research and innovation strategy and the transformational models that we know of, engaging in gender, in inclusiveness, in open science, etc., etc. Covering was actually one of our firsts, so that was very exciting. And Carmen already mentioned it as it is one of the projects that paved the way towards the joint degrees, which is a very important aspect of Ulysseus. I won't go into depth about the mechanism because William will present Komai, which is not on the same topic, but is kind of the same call for proposal. Maybe I can pass the mic and you can, yeah.
I'll be 2 minutes. So, hello everybody, William O'Gorman, Applied AI for Business and Education Innovation Hub Manager. So, we're very proud of Komai. We're developing a Ulysseus AI Master's degree. We're at the final point of it now. It's actually been sent off to be accredited by the Aquis agency in Germany, and we're hoping to get a result to have a final actually ready to go by June. So we're very far in the process now, and what I will say is that we're also now in the process of preparing our Erasmus Mundus joint masters, which is then the next level where we're going to be able to open up the Ulysseus AI degree to all of their European students and outside as well. One thing I will say is a big thanks to, we've had a lot of kind of help as well from what has been done in Cobring, so a lot of help to Ruben and everybody and Lily for sharing the information. It's been a really good way for us to learn and to gain competencies as well between. So we're very proud of that. And a big thanks to Mariana Makala, who's over here. She's been the driving force behind it. And also Anna Timlin was part of writing the application. So thank you, ladies. That's Komai.
So SMILE is on another topic, but the dynamic is the same. Oh, I think that Siegfried, you want to jump in?
If I have to, no. I also want to take the opportunity to say thank you to all the people who invested in the first 2 joint degree processes. So SMILE and the next ward, M4M, have been awarded with the same design measure, means 1 year later after Komai. We build on the Komai experiences, we build on the cities experiences. We are still working on some solutions also for cities and Komai when it comes to finances and other details, but I think we are learning from one joint degree to the other. Our former CSO Christoph is taking care of SMILE. I think we have a very intriguing and fruitful discussion when it comes to the curriculum development. I think Sevilla and Montenegro have recently aligned their thoughts, and similar things are now starting for M4M next week. Our tourism people are somehow focusing on a small joint degree for the moment, but we are trying to convince them to open up and to also get bigger in the upcoming months and years to include more partners.
Thank you very much, Siegfried. And so it's also an opportunity for our faculty members to actually meet, start engaging, and then go towards other typologies of project as well. I think that, no, he will keep the mic because actually he will present Curate, sorry.
Yeah, I'll briefly, because we're running short on time, but Curate is it's a co-created student-centered incubator program that is just starting now. A big focus for Haga Helia is to connect our students to the world of work, to the world of working life, and it's a big focus for us to also develop an incubator program based on AI and entrepreneurship, and an incubator program that is actually going to be then shared within the Innovation Hub ecosystem as we wish. Once we have it developed, we will develop a 5 ECTS AI and entrepreneurship incubator program and a framework as well to actually host incubators, boot camps, reverse pitching sessions where we involve our associate partners with our students, which is something that we want to focus on, is the involvement of our students with companies and to give them a practical way of working with life. Another focus is that our main target group is migrant students. So we're looking for migrant students, international students in each of our schools, and we're very proud of it so far. MCI, Tukke, Munster, Haga Helia and UCA are part of this, but we will be sharing our results with all of Ulysseus. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Exactly, that's a great point actually that you're mentioning, is that of course not every single project include every single partner, and first start with Montenegro and Munster because they are the new kids in town, but of course the idea is for the entire community to benefit from these projects through the funding of Ulysseus, but other means as well, and it will be important actually to include all the community within the outputs of these respective projects. Another project is D2S, so this one was coordinated by Université Côte d'Azur. I won't go into depth on this one because it's finished, and the only thing that I can tell you is that there's a range of courses that have been deployed in order to enhance digitalization skills of our community, of our teachers, but also our students. So it's completely open. It is part of the open course platform, so please go ahead and discover these. There will be a leveraging effect because actually we will use what has been developed in D2S in phase 2 of Ulysseus through the organization of trainings and BEEPs. I'm looking at Sarah because I know that she knows more specifically that I would call it trainings. I don't remember if it's a MOOC or a training or a BEEP or but we will try and leverage that through these mechanisms. Mob for All, which is also quite different because it was a project that was coordinated by Seville in order to train our staff, our administration, in order to provide better acknowledgement and hosting capacities for people with mobilities limitations. and special needs. And Nima, again, another, again, if colleagues from Seville want to jump in, as Siegfried and William did, please go ahead. Nima is a kind of, it's a project that will actually upgrade also our internationalization strategy towards the African continent and different African countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Senegal, on capacity building when it comes to the strategy from farm to fork. So please, I'll call on my colleague in order to provide a leveraging project effect between Movidis and Ringo. So I don't know if you want to come here on stage, I think it will be easier. Just to give like a more specific example of how we can create some virtuous cycle from one project to another in order to upscale the different projects.
Yes, I will try to be short. Thank you very much for everyone. I just wanted to express the relation between the experience we have with the Movidis project and how we try to work on it on the next project, which is called Rigo. We're working with virtual reality. So in Movidis, as you remember, it was the first time we were working with the concept of internationalization at home. Right now we have the BIP, COILS, and other internationalization form, virtual, online. But this one was a first opportunity. In fact, we were invited by the Erasmus Plus agency in France to present this experience we had. Of course, it was dedicated to the students that usually don't benefit of the Erasmus Plus mobility programs because of several reasons: sociological, physical disabilities, financial issues. So the thing is, this project was prepared before the COVID. So during COVID, Movidis found that there were a lot of students who were not in financial problems or in handicap problems that wanted to also participate in this project, of course, because it was the only way to work on international mobility at home. So we realized that it was really important to work with virtual mobility or hybrid learning in the Ulysseus. Just in short, this project ended the 31 August 2022. There were 6 universities, not only Ulysseus, and it was based on the 23 economics courses and 4 foreign language. There were a lot of teachers involved. I'm going to pass this part because it was, I understand you already know the Movidis project, but it was very important because we realized that there was a very good exam pass rate. So this kind of hybrid, in this kind it was just virtual, but the hybrid learning, it works. What the most important in this case was that we understood the importance of the full virtual international mobilities. I don't know if we can call it mobility, but in fact, international experience, and the need of effective administrative coordination. It was a really challenge for all us to put in common all the universities. You already know the Ulysseus Alliance, of course. And it was really important to prepare teachers to understand which were the new opportunities to work, to collaborate with other universities, virtually, hybrid, or even face-to-face. Also, we understood that, of course, virtual international mobility cannot substitute face-to-face mobility, but they can be complementary and mutually reinforces, of course. So right now, there was another satellite project who was coordinated by Université Côte d'Azur, was approved this year, 2023, and it is based on the experimentation with virtual reality. In fact, we understood that after the pandemic, a lot of students started to have fears and were afraid to go out, to go into the abroad in other countries. So we knew that the virtual reality was a very good tool to work on the psychological aspect of students. And we thought that maybe we could experiment with this new technique to help them to understand what is to be in a virtual mobility. This way, they will be able to face these fears and then to go and to decide to go into a real face-to-face mobility. In this case, of course, we are working with innovative learning using the virtual reality, but also we would like to work in inclusion, because we all know that not everybody can go in a face-to-face mobility, even if there are financial possibilities, there are handicaps, there are sociological problems, and lots of families have sons that cannot go into a physical mobility. In this case, our project had a duration of 2 years, and we have 4 universities that are joining us in this new adventure, who are MCI, Hagaelia, Tuque, and we as coordinator. And the main result will be an online platform with immersive virtual scenarios and other virtual tours. So just to make it short, we are going to organize in January a co-creation exercise between students, just to know which are the main difficulties and problems they face when they go on international mobility. After that, we will have our pedagogical engineers, and they are going to design these new virtual scenarios and put it for the use for all the students, to everybody who would like to experiment this virtual mobility, this experience at home. C'est bon.
Thank you very much. So, yes, I think we can applaud. So now it's the moment I'm very stressed about. We're going to focus on the project office, its missions, and the services it will provide, and the ones that it will not provide. But before that, maybe Adil, you want to introduce a bit yourself?
Adil again. So I'm new, 2 weeks new. So I write for this position to do 2 things. Let's summarize: bring on more projects from Horizon Europe, and communicate better on these opportunities. So my background: I'm a scientist, background in biomedicine, experimental biomedicine. PhD, and 6 years postdoc research. And then I have switched to the administrative side, where I helped researchers with their partnerships, industrial partnerships, and valorization process for almost 6 years. And now I'm embarking with you on this adventure. I like it already. A lot of challenges to attend to. Well, yes.
So as you understood, Adil just joined the adventure. So if there's something you're not happy about here, please fire at me or at Stéphane, and Adil will make sure that he that he improves what we already started to do. Okay. So, as some of you may know, we have launched a survey in order to better understand and apprehend the different models that have been adopted by the university's members of Ulysseus when it comes to the drafting and the submission of projects, Erasmus Plus and Horizon Europe project. The idea is to understand how many human resources are engaged to date in the mechanism of drafting Horizon Europe and Erasmus Plus project, and the management and other typologies of funding, but I'll be brief, I'll summarize to that. So how many human resources can we rely on? what are the different models? Is it centralized, decentralized? Is the drafting of project located in the faculties? Is it centralized at the level of the governing bodies? All of that is super important for us because even though the project office will have the important role of coordinating and the responsibility of improving our rate in terms of submission, it is clear that the project office will not be doing it alone. And we need to better understand with what we are working from in order to build up a community of people beyond the Innovation Hub manager, which have thematic roles. We need to understand which expertise, drafting expertise, we have within our communities. People like Maria, people like Lily, that have an expertise when it comes to draft Horizon Europe or Erasmus Plus projects, depending on the nature of the different projects. So for now, we haven't gotten all the answers to the survey, so unfortunately I won't be able to give you like a thorough analysis of the number of people, etc., the number of projects that are submitted, but still we have enough answers in order to address some observations. These observations will be confirmed or not when we get the rest of the results. The first observation that we made was actually there are very different models from more decentralized to centralized, and some universities actually have blended model, which means that in some university the European drafting activities are centralized within one department, whereas in some universities it is decentralized in the different faculties in order to have thematic specialties. And there's also a third model where it's blended, which means that for some proposals, from typologies of call for proposal, it is decentralized in the faculties, but there is a centralization at the level of the central services in order to coordinate the actions that are decentralized in the faculties. The second observation that we made is that there are different operative models. Some structures externalize the drafting of their proposals, so they work with private agencies in order for these private agencies to draft the proposal, which means that they don't have at an internal level specific expertise in the drafting of proposals. Some decided to centralize all of the expertise within their universities. And a third one, again, is blended, which means that for some calls it is externalized, which means that they work with private agencies for some specific calls, either because the projects are in coordination, so they're very large and they need a lot of work, or because they're very specific and strategic, such as ERCs. The third observation that we made, so of course it needs to be confirmed by the rest, but as it is now, even though not all universities cover all the potential services that can be provided, when we do the addition, we come to the conclusion that all the services to be provided to the research community already exists within Ulysseus, which means that maybe some universities do not provide info days or training sessions to their researchers, but on the other hand, there will be a partner university that covers that aspects. So that is great, because that means that we have a comprehensive service offer towards our community if we rely on the expertise and the strength of each university within Ulysseus. And I think it's kind of one of the points of Ulysseus, so that's kind of a good news. And then, so the fourth one is that, of course, there is a great disparity in the number of human resources dedicated to project development, from 0 when it's completely externalized to 25 or 30 people in some cases. And it also impacts, of course, the number of submission of projects. It can go from 5-10 projects a year to 200-250 per year. This is not a bad news. It's also a question of size of the university, sizes of the communities, where the university decided to engage in their strategy. So it's not a bad news, it's just an observation. Here again, the idea is going to see how we can benefit from the strength of each other in order to create a nice dynamic when it comes to European projects. So I wanted to invite some of my colleagues to briefly, so because I gave like the main observation. And here I have three, so these are the three universities maybe that provide the most different models. So from the more decentralized to blended to decentralized. So I thought it could be interesting for them just to communicate 2-3 minutes on how they operate on a daily basis, just for you to get an idea. I was actually super interested and very surprised of the diversity actually of models that exist. So the first one from Seville, I'll bring the mic. Yes. You have a presentation? No, it's fine? Okay, okay.
Thank you for your introduction. My name is Jose de la Rosa. Maybe some of you know me, but I'm a newcomer here in the Ulysseus community, so thanks for attending this presentation. So I'm the new director of the International Projects Office at the University of Seville. So thanks to the strategy launched by my university some years ago, especially by our rector and our vice rector for internationalization. So the idea of our International Project Office is to have an instrument for our university to promote, assist, and support the application for both research and academic international projects within our community. So our office promotes the internationalization of the creation, transmission, and transformation of knowledge, and the promotion of the culture of internationalization. No? So because we have a transversal nature, the operation of our office is coordinated with three vice rectors for internationalization by Professor Carmen Vargas, for research and for transfer of knowledge. So there are two other vice rectors with whom I am working on. No? So what I can tell you is that the results of this idea, these strategies, are very, very impressive. It is not my merit. Indeed, I am following the step of Melania, who was preceding myself as director of this office. So I think you all know Melania, but I would like to give, or join me, please, to give an applause to Melania for her great job, because some of the numbers that I am going to show you, just as an example of the results of our project office, are indeed the merits of many people, led by Melania, and even myself have been just working in the last few months, because I started in this role. I'm a professor in microelectronics, and I started in this role just 7 months ago, right? So what I can tell you is the following. The participation of the University of Seville in European projects has been growing since our office was created, with a current rate of more than 140 proposals per year. Indeed, our strategy has been mostly focused toward the attraction of international talent, which is essentially the excellent science program, and mostly the Marie Curie actions, in which, honestly, we have very impressive results. We have multiplied by 4 the success of our proposals, achieving success rate of around 30%. For instance, in the last edition of the postdoctoral fellowship, we achieved 29.2% of success rate. So I think it's very, very impressive. And as I said before, it's not my merit, but the merit of many people working behind this. So our activities mainly to promote the promotion of the different calls, advise, support the researchers applying for different grants. We're also very interested in the ERC program, in which we are also getting very, very good results. We achieved a consolidator grant this year, and also some starting grants as well. So what I can tell you, just to conclude, we have presently more than 108 international running projects, with an overall funding of somehow 50 million euros, and our university is coordinating 36 projects. In both, there are 30 research projects and 6 academic projects, which are coordinated by our university. So the idea now is to coordinate with the other project offices in the Ulysseus in order to put more emphasis in other, for instance, pillars of the Horizon Europe, and also in some Erasmus programs, because I think it's a very, very good opportunity to take advantage of our networking and working together with other project offices and led by yourself. It will be a good idea. So I would like also to bring the attention of some persons, some people who are key persons in the Ulysseus, like for instance, Lily. I don't know if Lily is here. Please stand up. I think all of you know her. So he's part of the team. And also Rocio as well, who is the director. Please stand up. So thank you all. So, okay. They're coming here? Right. So that's my... She's not my deputy.
I'm sorry.
But, I think you can ask questions to her.
Yes, our MC just told us that actually we could not finish after past. So we have 10 minutes to finish the whole session. We started late. So yeah, really one word.
Yeah, okay. One word. Okay, I'm really looking forward to the new strategy that we'll all build together for the project, and we'll be talking about it these 2 days. And actually I met with Saran at the airport in Belgrade, and we started talking about it in the plane, dealing with her anxiety, flight anxiety, right? At Ulysseus, at the University of Seville, we support all kind of projects that are satellite projects, but the idea and what we all want to do is to build this coordination both on the internal level with the Office of International Projects led by Jose, and the external level, meaning that with all other partners. So I think we are on a good way to make it possible. Thank you all.
I will now ask to a blended model, which with the University of Munster, to give really 2 minutes.
It was blended, right? Yes. Okay, I'm Tilman Butschart. I would like to change the perspective because I'm a researcher, I'm a professor. I'm interested to do real research. And therefore, I need a good infrastructure from the administration to support me with my research ideas. Münster is a huge university, so if I have an idea and I believe that the ideas for progress must come out of from the belly of science, so the scientists are the guys who have the ideas, and when I have an idea and then I look for a call, so there are lots of support in calls, and let's say it's a Horizon 2020 project or it's an ERC project, then in Münster we have a private agency. And this private agency, these are people, they worked in Brussels for some times and they come back and they give advice. They fill in all those fancy tables that you have to fill in for partners and things, do the calculation. And my last application, I clicked on go 55 seconds before the call ended. So this is why I need support to do all those numbers, because we can't do that as scientists. So if you have like Marie Curie and I don't know strange names from mobility things, we have an office, it's called Scientific Support Office in Münster. They are 20 people and they each faculty if in other programs that are not ERC or Horizon 2020. And if it's Erasmus Plus, then we have it's the international office. So for me it's rather difficult to know to whom I have to address. So blended looks very good, but in my daily practice, it's not that fine. So I'm looking forward for support from nice guys from Ulysseus Network to support me with my ideas. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. And last but not least, same thing, 2 minutes, Maria, I'm sorry.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Maria Radwanska and I'm from Technical University. At Technical University, the managing of projects is mostly decentralized. Each faculty has their own way. We've got a faculty which has project office with, I don't know, 10 people. We've got faculties that have 1 person. We have faculties which have no officially appointed project officer. But we are doing very well at the level of national funding. There the faculties and people are aware of the things. But when it comes to the EU and Horizon Europe, and we are still doing quite well in Erasmus, but when it comes to coordinating, the people and researchers are mostly scared and say, no, we want to be partners, but we don't want really to be coordinators. So at Technical University, we've got a so-called University Science Park, which has the department for project management, with very few people compared to USE. I was very much inspired 2 years ago when I visited Melania at USE and saw how big departments they are and what all they do. So it's more ad hoc rather than really structuralized at Technical University. So we are looking forward to really inspiration from other big project offices, how they do that. And I hope they will also talk to our management to support better development of project management, mainly of Horizon Europe and EU funds as such, and to be inspired. Generally at USB Technicum, in the past Ulysseus, the satellite projects were managed by William, by me. Now it's on board also Tomasz, which are here. So this is the team which usually deals with satellite projects which are within Ulysses, and we forward the information and help with administration, but there is not really big team that would be really involved in EU funds as such.
Thank you very much. And actually Maria is quite humble because she has been one of the key person for all the projects that have been submitted. So 5 minutes to finish. Three main observations when we were thinking about the services that we wanted to provide through the project office, and building on the suggestions that have been transferred through the survey, but also through informal conversation that we've been having for months. One thing, satellite projects should not be seen as a result, as an objective, but as a result. We create research communities. We create research communities of people that want to work together because they think that there's a scientific importance to that, and it leads to the submission of project. Not the contrary. It will not work at a research standpoint if we pinpoint some topics and ask our research communities to work together on no ground, on no basis. And that's one of the observation that we made, and that doesn't work for Horizon Europe, but to have an institutional approach within Erasmus Plus has been quite successful, as we could see in the first step of this presentation. And so we reached to the conclusion that we should not apply the same process when it comes to Erasmus Plus or to Horizon Europe. The dynamic is not the same. Erasmus Plus can be more institutional, whereas Horizon Europe, and I thank the colleague from Munster to explain that, it's about science, it's about good science, it's about people, scientists that want to work together towards a common output. We have identified three main critical success factors. The project office is kind of a hyphen between the activity-driven work packages. When I say driven activities, work packages are the work package 3 to 8. So those that are not structural or like ours consolidating the campus. So we should be the hyphen between these work packages and funding agency opportunities. Kite can come to see us and tell us, you know what, in the work packages we have identified through the seed funding this opportunity in terms of joint program, this one, can you target one call for proposal? Same thing, Peter can come and say, you know what, we have identified these research groups that we have funded through the seed funding mechanism in terms of research, and now they are looking for a specific topic because they want to apply to call for funding. So it's really a question of being in a hyphen. We need to create a community of practice. So as Maria was saying, of course, there are some universities where you have 20 people that are dedicated to the submission of projects. So in some you have less, but that's fine and that's okay. What we need is one person. We need one person within all of your university to be the contact point for the project office. This one person needs to have the expertise when it comes to drafting proposal, not a thematic expertise, an expertise when it comes to drafting proposal. And this is super important. This person will work with the project manager, of course, the project office manager, We'll work also, of course, with the Innovation Hub managers, but we need to have this expertise when it comes to drafting and understanding the Horizon Europe programs, the Erasmus Plus programs, and other funding agency programs. We know that it wasn't necessarily included in the budget of Ulysseus. We know that, but we are going to ask you for this specific effort. It can be someone appointed that already exists and works within your university. It can also be a rearrangement of your budget. That is up to you, of course, but we're really going to need that special effort. So on the same ground that we have this group of mobility officers, of project managers, we need to have this group of project officers. It will be an effort at first, but then it will leverage more funding, and that means that you will be able then to fund these people on your own resources. We haven't provided the example of Université Côte d'Azur, but now there are over 25 people working under the leadership of Virginie Odo at the Direction des Relations de Développement International Européen. Thank you. And a lot of them actually are funded through the Horizon Europe and the Erasmus Plus fundings that leverage overheads, that provides us the opportunity to have bigger teams and more expertise within the university. And the third observation, and I see that I have 1 minute, is that the project office must diversify its activities to be closer to the academic community. The drafting of the proposal, again, it's a result. But there are many steps and many services that we can provide leading to the submission of a proposal. And there are three kind of main services that we will be providing. I have 30 seconds, so I won't go in depth. But the first one is to promote the European opportunities and create the right conditions through the organization of info days, through the organization of trainings and masterclass if needed by some of the colleagues, through the creation of a community of practices. So I was saying earlier, we really need that contact, that project office contact, and also to support the coordination of the projects that have been funded through the satellite mechanism. The support to the development of the new proposal, which is not the same that the drafting of a new proposal. It is everything that happens before. How do we promote project opportunities together? How do we create a pipeline between the seed funding mechanism within Ulysseus Phase 2 and the leveraging effect towards the funding agencies? How do we target calls in order to support Innovation Hub managers in the diversification of the funding of the Innovation Hubs? How do we work with the research group to develop some strategy intelligence in order to pinpoint the right topics, the right calls, because it's a topic but it's also a call, the nature, their needs. Do they need equipment? Do they need HR? Do they need something else? And depending on that, it will not be the same call. How do we better use Match for COP brokerage events and content, and how do we publish more content publication in order to engage our communities more than what we have done until now? And how do we use the existing tools that we have struggled to develop thanks to Jean-Loïc and his team and the rest of the contacts here within Ulysseus in order for it to be useful to develop these research communities? And one thing that we want to launch is, and we will rely on Civi and their great success, because honestly 30%, it's twice the European average, and sometimes it's even less than that actually, so it's a huge success. How do we launch a common call in order to identify postdocs that could submit Marie Curie proposal in one of our universities? And this is something that we will launch for next year. And the third one is, how do we support the drafting of new proposal? How do we coordinate the project officers, the grant writers, the European engineers? I know that there are many different terminologies depending on the universities. How do we develop some tools and some templates? That's something that we had mentioned very early on. There are some templates that we can do in order to facilitate the administrative section that our researchers don't want to take care of. So same thing, we have a policy when it comes to open science. We can draft that section in order for our researchers to include that within their proposal. So all of these tools and templates that will support the non-scientific sections of the proposal. How do we create a template that facilitates the building of the budgets, for instance? And then, of course, provide all the admin support that one needs in order to click on the button 1 minute and 30 seconds before the deadline and not 55 seconds before the deadline. And this, so maybe this will not be that popular, but when we say that, we have identified quite a lot of services and there's still only one man. So that means, again, that it's going to be super important, and yeah, he's a great man, but he cannot do everything. So it's really about creating this community of practices. All of these means that we won't be able to identify all the research and the academic groups. So we're going to need help on that. And we cannot do the actual drafting of every single proposal. I mean, I think that can be understood by everyone. And the two questions that we have is, who will identify the right people for the right project? How do we rely on our communities in order to identify the research groups that could click, that could match, in order for them to work together, to want to work together? And who will draft the proposal beyond our very strong man? Of course, in both situations, we will rely on the Innovation Hub manager because they have the thematic knowledge of their own ecosystem. But can I ask John to draft a proposal on cultural and creative industries? I don't think so. It's not his role. So that means that Innovation Hub managers alone cannot do the work also on their own, which is why we've also included the research directorates. They are the ones that know their communities. The research directors of the research units are the ones that know their communities, and we need to rely on them through the Innovation Hub managers, through the European project engineers, in order to identify the community on which we can rely. And of course, international relations directorates, when it comes to Erasmus+, are absolutely fundamental when drafting the different proposal. Same thing for the drafting of the proposal. InnoHub managers can of course contribute, but they don't have the expertise necessarily, because that's not why we have recruited them. We've recruited them to create an ecosystem, not to draft Horizon Europe proposal. It is a mean. And that means that we need, again, and I'm sorry I insist, but you know I'm very monothematic. We say that when you repeat the same thing differently, sometimes it goes through. We really need to recruit or to appoint project officers in order to support the dynamic that we are trying to implement when it comes to the submission of Horizon Europe projects and Erasmus Plus projects. Next step, please, for those who haven't completed the survey, please do so. We will send it back through the steering committee thread of emails. Please send us one name of one person that will be part of this first round of community of practice, that will work with Adil on the structuration of the different services and the drafting of the first proposals. So I know that Lili will be part of it. I would be very surprised if she wouldn't. Maria as well, but for the others, please send us a name. And they will be able to work on the first step, which will be to create this toolbox we've been talking about for quite a long time now. I'm sorry, 5 minutes delay, but I try to do as fast as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and sorry for rushing you. Yes, but yeah, we started a little late, and now we have back. It's okay. I hope you are tolerant about these 5 to 10 minutes. Just before the final session of farewell messages, Inma has something to announce, an important event for the next stage.
Hello, everybody. I will be very brief. While we get the presentation, it's only 2 slides. Just to let you know that after the meeting, we will share all the presentation and all material that has been produced during the parallel sessions. I only have 2 slides because you were wondering about the next event. I have organized them in chronological order. So the next one after this one will be number 2, Open Information Event Companies, Mobility Call, one that will be virtual, that will be MCI in charge of the event. I will share the presentation, so since we are running out of time, I guess that I don't have to go through all of them. But we have 21 events prepared for 2004. And just to let you know that one of the concrete tasks that we agreed during our project management meeting was to at least try to arrange the date for all events that will take place in 2024. So we can start planning events, but also financially, we can also have a planification. So that's everything I wanted to say. Well, before closing, by our rectors, thank you very much. It has been lovely working with all of you, and I'm looking forward to the next event. Thank you.
Thank you, Inma. And now we have the session where we will have our rectors give the farewell messages, and with that we conclude our event. After that, we will have you can be able to take light snack in front of this room, and at 1:30 we will have transfer to the coast of Montenegro. So now the rector speeches. We start with Mr. Michael Quante, Vice Rector for Internationalization of the University of Münster. Oh, sorry, yeah. So he will have his deputy. Yeah, sorry.
It's again me. So Michael Quante is already gone to the airport, back to the delegation. So I am the last one of this new Kids in Town group. And thank you very much for the organizers. I enjoyed it pretty much being here, and I'm sure my vice rector did the same. I'm sure he had good calls. And as you knew him, he's a philosopher, and from his point of view, he would obviously had some philosophical thoughts. I'm an environmentalist and ecosystem researcher, so my metaphors would be a bit different. What I thought, it was a perfect biotop here for every one of us to bring out the best qualities we have. And then what I really liked is that the leaders or the directors from those universities were there, and I really appreciate that you were there for the whole period, and I know you have a lot of things to do. So thank you very much, and thank you for all those nice conversations we had, and I wish you and me and us a bright future within Ulysseus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now Mr. Teemu Kokko, President of Haga Helia.
Yes, dear colleagues, first of all, thank you so much, University of Montenegro, and Vladimir with his team. Fantastic hospitality and fantastic work. Thank you for that. Secondly, what has struck me during these 2 days is the dedication and the motivation and the hard work of you all. The national sport of Finland is ice hockey, and in ice hockey usually the best players are the ones who don't press the stick too hard. They have loose hands and they're ready for different kind of moves, and I can tell you that you are not pressing the stick too hard, so continue with that. Finally, Haga Helia is fully dedicated and very motivated in this project or in these activities, and one reason is that we should always remember that we are doing meaningful things. We are changing the future. We are shaping the Europe through education and research, and that's really valuable. So even though we are dealing with administrative challenges and so on, we should never forget that this really is important work. And therefore, thank you all that you are involved and you are on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kokko, also for this memorable metaphor. We will remember it. Now we have Mr. Siegfried Walsh, head of Ulysseus European University at MCI.
Yeah, thank you very much to our hosts for organizing such a wonderful event here and for also showing how quickly you have integrated into this Ulysseus, what is it, Alliance, United in Diversity, our big strengths. We have built a governance structure. We have established it over the last 3 years, now already together with you. And we have a few lessons learned. We have learned that success breeds success. We have learned that we have to align our goals, to align our plans. And I think we got a wonderful example presented by Saran, how these plans need to be aligned and how these goals need to be aligned, and then Sarah earlier on mobilities. We have learned that internal communication matters. Internal communication before we go public, to make sure that our friends and researchers and staff members at home buy the idea before they get informed via social media. That's also one of the lessons we have learned. And now we have a few opportunities and challenges ahead of us. There is the election coming up next year, and we don't know the landscape after this election. But we know that we are here, and we won't go away anymore. We will continue as this alliance to build Europe, to share these European values with the world. We have built our branch. We will go for further strategic alliances, and this will be the key argument to convince our politicians to put extra resources in these alliances, because we don't do what all the universities do. We do something in addition, and we will continue doing so. And having said so, I wish you a festive season. Have a few nice recreational days over the new year, and I'm very much looking forward to working with all of you in the upcoming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walch. And now we have a representative from the University of Košice, Vice Rector Miro Keleman. And we hope that Mr. Mesaroš is following us on YouTube. But Miro, take the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our TUCE team, I would like to thank you, first of all, to the University of Montenegro. Thank you very much also for supporting team of other partners. Results of discussion during this meeting is very important also for our internal communication at university, within our working groups at university, and for the quality of discussion with our students and researchers involved in Ulysseus events, trainings, and projects. So thank you very much for lessons learned, and we are looking forward to our cooperation and for the next steps. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. And now I guess that Mr. Federico Delfino is not here from University of, we will have his deputy from University of Genoa, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I found this meeting really very useful for the Alliance, because we had the occasion to share our opinion, our previous experiences, and also to put in place the direction for further actions for the Alliance. And I think that we decided some things to be really operational in the further months. And I see we at the University of Genoa, we see the Ulysseus Alliance like a platform of opportunities for students, for professors, for researchers, and for our communities. And I think that this morning we spoke about partners, but that it is important to make a reflection also on the stakeholders of this alliance and the benefits that we can create for all these stakeholders. And to gain better resources from our politicians, we need to demonstrate that this alliance is able to change something in our cities, in our regions, boosting innovation and also the quality of education for younger people that are more and more European. So thank you very much, and I foresee, I'm excited to expect further meetings with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I assume that representative of University of Côte d'Azur will be represented by Stefan Ngomai. Yeah.
Well, on behalf of Yannick Brisvalter, the president of Université Côte d'Azur, he had to go back to France this morning. So it's a big responsibility to figure out what is in the mind of Yannick, but he's a very straightforward person. So I think that the first thing that he would have said is thank you. Thank you, of course, to Vladimir and to all University of Montenegro team. It was really wonderful. I mean, the organization is perfect, and we really had really good discussions for the future. Thank you also, of course, to all the team of Sevilla and to INMA. I think it's very important also that this coordination issues are well organized, and it is the case, so thank you so much. Now, the second thing that Yannick would have said is that it is, we have now in phase 1 all the basic, all the foundations, and now in the phase 2 we really do have actions to realize. It's very important now to go to the really actions and to transform our all agreements and organization into real actions. And maybe the third thing is that do not forget that we are working for the citizen of the future. And we're not working for ourselves. We are working for the citizen of the future, and elections are coming from Europe, as Siegfried has said, and it is a very important thing that Ulysseus makes real impact on the European scene. So thank you very much, and see you soon. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Now we will have Mr. Miguel Ángel Castro, Rector of the University of Seville. Please take the floor.
Dear rectors and presidents, vice rectors and vice presidents of our 8 Ulysseus Alliance members, dear representatives of our universities, students, professors, and non-academic staff, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you very much once again to the University of Montenegro, and especially to its rector, dear Vladimir, to the Vice Rector for Internationalization, dear Sanja, and to the colleagues from the International Cooperation and Mobility Office, dear Serna. It has been an absolutely fantastic meeting. We have felt the perfect organization, but not only this. We have felt your hospitality, your affection, and your warm welcome. I'd like to ask the audience for a big applause to the University of Montenegro. Second thing I'd like to say is my deep gratitude to the Ulysseus coordinator units, led by our Ulysseus General Manager, Inma Periáñez. Thank you very much. As many of you know, she has joined us recently, and since then, you, Inma, have made an extraordinary effort to know Ulysseus, to tackle the coordination of the unit in Sevilla, and the interaction with all the partners. I know that you have made an exhausting work to support the organization of this kickoff meeting. Congratulations to you and to the Ulysseus team in Sevilla, because it has been a great success. Thank you very much, my good friend. And we have gathered in this meeting more than 150 people. Some of them are already good friends, but others are newcomers. Welcome to the Ulysseus family once again. The new ones will soon become friends, and I hope that more and more we are engaging our governing teams and, of course, our whole communities and associated partners in this fantastic journey. If you see and recap all the things in this meeting, I could say that the phase 2 of Ulysseus is bringing us great expectations. We have enlarged the family. We are moving from piloting to scaling up and consolidation of our structures and programs. We are enlarging our professional management support structure. We have 4 years ahead to achieve tangible things, and we soon, very soon, will be surrounded by many more satellite projects. So, to do all these things, as I said in my speech during the opening session, to navigate from port to port, from the pilot to the consolidation phase, and by using the nautical argot, we need 2 things: a favorable wind and a calm sea. Regarding the first one, for me, this means the perspective of a holistic investment pathway. It means national support by our projects, and also it means funding from our regional support, from our regional government. It also means policy support by the European Commission, and of course, we are looking forward to it after the coming European elections. Let's see what happens, Stefan. And the second thing, a calm sea, means strengthening the collaboration among our partner universities. It means progressing toward a legal statute that gives stability to our alliance. It means increased engagement of our communities, formed by students, researchers, and non-academic staff. And it also means increased involvement of our stakeholders. That means the regional and local government, the business confederation, individual companies, and above all, the society, the cities, the citizens of the future. In the first 3 years of our pilot phase 1, we have filled up the fuel deposit. For this phase, for the phase number 2, we already have the deposit full. So let's start the engine, let's spread the sails, and let's continue our navigation with 2 more partners on board. I wish you, in this second step, all the success we can obtain. Let me say something in the language of this country. Jiveli, Jiveu Universitet Cernegore, I Jivela Nasha Velika, Ulysseus Poroditsa. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for these nice and inspiring words. And now, to round up this session, we have our rector, Professor Vladimir Božović, to say the final words.
Dear friends, dear Ulysseus family, as I started yesterday my speech a little bit informal, this would be semi-formal. So I'll say a couple of words written down, something that I really feel deeply. When colleague from Minster University, our Vice Rector Mikhail, yesterday shared the metaphor about marriage during the opening session, I hope that many of you remember that, of delightful event. I had no actually clue how accurate he turned out to be. And the ultimate confirmation came last night, during our splendid wedding celebration, leaving us with a truly fascinating memory. After all, really, what is a life without these cherished moments? That's why it's imperative that in every our gathering, even after enduring the demanding session and hard work of the past few days, we take such a moment to create lasting memories. It happened, and I have to share my personal happiness because of that. Lastly, I would like to express something I found profoundly significant, especially in nowadays world. Life, as we all know, is inherently unpredictable. Therefore, If you ever find yourself in a situation where you need genuine rather than formal, friendly support, or if the security of family-like environment is sought, please come here. In this place, with me and my team, you will always find that kind of support, family-like support. That is how we experience and nurture true friendship. Thank you all for wonderful moments, and thank you for significant progress we have achieved together. Thank you.
Let's stay with these words. I have nothing to add. I gave you some logistical details before. I would like just like Srna to join me here to give an applause to her as well, because she was so dedicated in this transition of duties. Yes, we had the transitional duties as well recently, and Srna was there with you, and maybe she wants also to address.
I will just continue what the rector said. We are now family. We are not newcomers anymore as of last night. So please feel, I know that you felt our hospitality, but this is really who we are. And we will continue in that manner, because these ties that we have established last night will have a lifelong impact on all of us. So thank you all for all your energy, and I hope that we will have more of these memorable moments, because this is what Ulysseus is, a part of the work that we will be doing in the future. Thank you.